The Jonathan Swift on Human Nature and Society. When a great genius appears in the world, you may know him by this sign, that the dunces are all in confederacy against him. Vision is the art of seeing what is invisible to others. Satire is a sort of glass, wherein beholders do generally discover everybody's face but their own. I never wonder to see men wicked, but I often wonder to see them not ashamed. The best doctors in the world are Dr. Diet, Dr. Quiet, and Dr. Merriman. There is nothing constant in this world but inconsistency. The latter part of a wise person's life is taken up in curing the follies, prejudices, and false opinions they contracted in their earlier years. We have just enough religion to make us hate, but not enough to make us love one another. A wise person should have money in their head, but not in their heart. No wise man ever wished to be younger. The Jonathan Swift on Politics and Power. Laws are like cobwebs, which may catch small flies, but let wasps and hornets break through. Power is no blessing in itself, except when it is used to protect the innocent. In church they say, "Do as I say, not as I do." Politics, as the word is understood, are nothing but corruptions. A government that governs least governs best, provided it governs wisely. It is the folly of too many to mistake the echo of a London coffee house for the voice of the kingdom. The worthiest people are the most oppressed. Where there are large powers, large follies follow. Reasoning will never make a man correct an ill opinion, which by reasoning he never acquired. Ambition often puts men upon doing the meanest offices, so climbing is performed in the same posture as creeping. The Jonathan Swift on Wisdom and Ignorance. A man should never be ashamed to own he has been in the wrong, which is but saying in other words that he is wiser today than he was yesterday. The more ignorant men are, the more they despise others. Words are the clothing of our thoughts. The greatest enemy of reason is not ignorance, but the illusion of knowledge. The first remedy against bad learning is a good mind. It is useless to attempt to reason a man out of a thing he was never reasoned into. A lie can travel halfway around the world while the truth is putting on its shoes. Men are content to be laughed at for their wit, but not for their folly. Blessed is he who expects nothing, for he shall never be disappointed. He was a bold man that first ate an oyster. The Jonathan Swift on Friendship and Relationships. Good manners is the art of making those people easy with whom we converse. Friendship is the marriage of the soul. A true friend is like a shadow. In sunshine, they follow you. In storms, they disappear. Every man desires to live long, but no man wishes to be old. Promises and pie crusts are made to be broken. The worth of a book is to be measured by what you can carry away from it. If a man makes me keep my distance, the comfort is he keeps his at the same time. Nothing is so hard for those who abound in riches as to conceive how others can be in want. Whoever makes the fewest people uneasy is the best bred man in company. I wonder what fool it was that first invented kissing. The Jonathan Swift on Life and Happiness. May you live every day of your life. Happiness is the perpetual possession of being well deceived. The two noblest things, sweetness and light. Although men are accused of not knowing their own weakness, yet perhaps as few know their own strength. Better belly burst than good drink lost. It is a very just complaint that those who preach love should be full of hatred. Most men would rather complain of their burdens than be rid of them. A wise man should always have a lantern in his soul. Liberty is the best of all earthly blessings. Nothing is so much to be feared as fear. The Jonathan Swift on Human Nature and Society. As love without esteem is capricious and volatile. Esteem without love is languid and cold. Men are happy to be laughed at for their wit, but not for their folly. The greatest of fools are those who do not see themselves as such. A tavern is a place where madness is sold by the bottle. Few are qualified to shine in company, but it is in most men's power to be agreeable. Men are content to be laughed at for their wit, but not for their folly. The more I learn about people, the more I prefer my dog. The chief end of all human endeavor is to be happy at home. Complaints are the largest tribute heaven receives. When men grow virtuous in their old age, they only make a sacrifice to God of the devil's leavings. The Jonathan Swift on politics and power. It is the talent of our age to turn things that are serious into ridicule. No man was ever so completely skilled in the conduct of life as not to receive new information from age and experience. A penny for your thoughts, but if you have none, a penny for keeping quiet. What they do in heaven we are ignorant of. What they do not do we are told expressly. They neither marry, nor are given in marriage. Censure is the tax a man pays to the public for being eminent. All government without the consent of the governed is the very definition of slavery. The common fluency of speech in many men and most women is owing to a scarcity of matter and a scarcity of words. Bread is the staff of life, but women are the bread of men. Great abilities are not requisite for an able artist. There are few, very few, that will own themselves in a mistake. The Jonathan Swift on wisdom and ignorance. Nothing is so hard to learn as the habit of using time wisely. Reason only teaches us to look for an end and direct the means. It is with books as with men. A very small number play a great part. No preacher is listened to but time, which gives us the same lesson in different words. It is a miserable thing to live in suspense. It is the life of the spider. Falsehood flies, and truth comes limping after it. Books, like men, have only one way of coming into the world, but many ways of going out of it. A wise person sees as much as he ought, not as much as he can. Fools are the only nation that remains forever at peace. Ignorance is the greatest of all misfortunes. The Jonathan Swift on friendship and relationships. The best friend is he that, when he wishes a person's good, wishes it for that person's own sake. Every man desires to live long, but no man would be old. The only thing that makes one place more pleasing than another is the presence of friends. A friend to everybody is a friend to nobody. Good company is preferable to riches, for riches are the baggage of life. Love is a disease which needs a cure. A promise made is an unpaid debt. There is no such thing as pure friendship in this world. It is always alloyed by some mixture of interest. A man should choose a friend who is better than himself. Friendship is a plant of slow growth, and must undergo and withstand the shocks of adversity before it is entitled to the appellation. The Jonathan Swift on life and happiness. No wise man ever wished to be younger. Happiness is not the possession of money, but the possession of wisdom. A good conscience is the best divinity. A sound mind and sound body is a short but full description of a happy state in this world. The power of fortune is confessed only by the miserable, for the happy impute all their success to prudence or merit. The greatest difficulty in life is to be consistent with oneself. Life's greatest tragedy is not death, but a life unlived. Every man wants to live long, but no man wants to be old. The heart of man is like a sponge. It can only absorb so much before it overflows. A man should endeavor to live so that his happiness shall depend as little as possible on external things. The Jonathan Swift on writing and language. Proper words in proper places make the true definition of style. When once a man is determined, nothing can stop him, neither fate, nor circumstances, nor enemies. Words may be false and full of art. Sighs are the natural language of the heart. There is no greater folly than pretending to know everything. Books are the children of the brain. There is no absolute knowledge. The greatest philosopher can only make guesses. Genius is neither learned nor acquired. It is a gift. Fine words, I wonder where you stole them. Writing is the art of communicating thoughts to the world. The best kind of education is the one that teaches a man to think for himself. The Jonathan Swift on morality and virtue. He who makes a beast of himself gets rid of the pain of being a man. Honesty has no fence against superior cunning. When men increase in wealth, they commonly increase in pride and folly. Vice is the disease of the mind, virtue its health. A fool and his money are soon parted. A man without a purpose is like a ship without a rudder. Morality is the glue that holds society together. It is better to be alone than in bad company. Riches serve a wise man, but command a fool. Virtue is its own reward. The Jonathan Swift on human nature and society. The greatest advantage in life is to have the right habits. Human nature is the same in all countries and climates. No wise man ever thinks that a falsehood is excusable. Most people believe, in the depths of their hearts, that they are better than others. The way to make a person trust you is to trust them first. All human wisdom is contained in these two words: wait and hope. Wealth is the most dangerous servant and the most fearful master. Better to be laughed at for telling the truth than to be admired for telling lies. There are very few indeed, who will own themselves in a mistake. The world is full of fools, and he who would not see it should live alone. The Jonathan Swift on politics and power. War is the child of pride and the parent of misery. Government is an evil. It is only the lesser evil that is tolerable. A kingdom founded on injustice can never stand. The poor complain. The rich take precautions. An election is a sort of advance auction of stolen goods. The best way to keep power is never to want it too much. It is not strength, but cunning that governs the world. Power is a dangerous thing, except when it is in the hands of the wise. When men quarrel about government, it is usually for the sake of gain, not virtue. The man who speaks truth should always be on his guard, for he makes many enemies. The Jonathan Swift on wisdom and ignorance. Ignorance is the greatest of all evils. Wisdom is knowing when to speak and when to stay silent. True wisdom is not in knowing much, but in understanding what you do know. The fool talks more than he listens. The wise man listens more than he talks. A learned fool is more foolish than an ignorant one. It is not the want of knowledge, but the misapplication of it that causes folly. It is often easier to deceive others than to deceive oneself. Some people are wise, and some are otherwise. A fool takes no pleasure in understanding, only in airing his own opinions. The worst kind of ignorance is the one that thinks itself wisdom. The Jonathan Swift on friendship and relationships. A true friend never gets in your way unless you're going down. The worst solitude is to have no true friendship. Jealousy is the tribute that mediocrity pays to genius. The sign of a true friend is one who tells you the truth, even when you don't want to hear it. He who makes no enemies makes no true friends. A man's best friend is one who knows all his faults and still loves him. Flattery is the food of fools, but honest criticism is the food of the wise. No friendship can be secure unless it is based on mutual honesty. Some friendships are born of habit, others of necessity, and a few of true affection. Love and friendship are like fire. They must be fed to remain alive. The Jonathan Swift on life and happiness. The happiest person is the one who expects nothing. Do not desire to live long, but to live well. It is easier to complain about life than to improve it. The true measure of a man's wealth is the good he has done for others. A great life is the sum of small, well-lived days. He who has health has hope. He who has hope has everything. The secret of happiness is to be easily contented. A happy life is one spent in pursuit of wisdom and kindness. The true test of character is how you act when no one is watching. It is better to laugh at life than to be angry at it. The Jonathan Swift on writing and language. Writing is the mirror of the mind. Language is the greatest invention of mankind, but also its greatest weapon. A writer should strive to make the complex simple and the simple profound. The difference between a good writer and a bad one is that the good writer knows when to stop. The pen is not only mightier than the sword, but also more enduring. A word once spoken cannot be taken back. A word unwritten can always be changed. The best writing is that which speaks to both the heart and the mind. A single well-chosen word can be worth 1,000 ill-chosen ones. A book should teach the reader how to think, not what to think. True eloquence lies in simplicity. The Jonathan Swift on morality and virtue. Virtue is not something to be talked about, but to be lived. The best way to teach virtue is by example. A good conscience is the softest pillow. Morality without kindness is empty. The true test of a man's character is what he does when no one is watching. We should be more concerned with being good than appearing good. Justice without mercy is cruelty. Mercy without justice is weakness. Doing the right thing is often the hardest thing. The true reward of virtue is virtue itself. If you must sin, sin against God, not the people. God will forgive you, but the people may not. The Jonathan Swift on miscellaneous wisdom. A person's true wealth is measured by the good they do. The greatest prison is the one we build in our own minds. Sleep is the golden chain that ties health and our bodies together. A man is known by the company he keeps and the books he reads. The greatest misfortune is not to be misunderstood, but to be understood and ignored. If you cannot do great things, do small things in a great way. A man's true worth is not measured by his possessions, but by his deeds. Time is the greatest thief of all. Genius is not always rewarded in its own time. The best kind of wealth is contentment.